going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, a little bit of a fun one. We're going to be talking about three players on the Vikings roster that should be holding their breath during the 2026 NFL Draft. The Vikes could potentially draft a replacement or make these three players available via trade after the draft here coming up in a couple of weeks. But you guys first off chime in down below. Name a Vikings draft pick that you were completely wrong about. Like the Vikings drafted this guy, you thought he was going to be an all-pro, a potential organizational changer, and that just flat out didn't happen. For me, the one guy I have never been more wrong about a player in my life, JJ McCarthy's up there, Laquan Treadwell. I thought Laquan Treadwell was going to be like the next Dez Bryant, big body wide receiver on the perimeter. I was completely wrong about him, but you guys chime in down below. Name a Viking draft pick that you were wrong about. Curious to see what you guys got to say. All right, players that are on the draft hot seat here, and I think number one by a wide margin would have to be Jordan Addison. Now, I still think that Jordan Addison could be in the long-term plans of the Minnesota Vikings franchise, as you know they have created a good amount of cap space to potentially extend Jordan Addison this offseason or potentially next offseason, but maybe the Vikings look to the NFL draft to draft a potential wide receiver 3 for this year and a wide receiver 2 down the road if they do end up trading Jordan Addison. But it probably won't happen in the first round. So this is coming in from DraftKings here. The first position drafted by the Vikings odds. Now, number one being the safety position at plus 190. Makes a lot of sense. The Vikings been mocked to Dylan Thieneman or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in every single mock draft, it feels like. But number two, similar odds, is a defensive lineman or an edge rusher. Caleb Banks is a guy that the Vikings could potentially take a reach on, so watch out for him. Also got offensive lineman coming at plus 370. Now, I think cornerback could be sneaky good value here if you're trying to put money on it, just in case Jermod McCoy or Mansour Delane, for whatever reason, fall. But also, I think the same could be said about tight end. Like, maybe they just go Kenyon Sadiq if he's there at 18. Then you got running back even ahead of wide receiver at plus 1,800. Then linebacker at plus 2,000. So, I think reading this, I doubt the Vikings draft a wide receiver in round 1 to potentially be the wide receiver 2, unless it is Jordan Tyson. Like, if this injury history really gives a lot of GMs and decision makers some cold feet when discussing if they should draft Jordan Tyson for their teams. Like, maybe he falls 18, and if he's there at 18, I could easily see the Vikings draft him and kind of be one of the more shocking picks of the first round across the NFL world. Now, I say this. I could easily see the Vikings drafting a wide receiver on day 2 of the NFL draft. If not round 2, they could easily head in that direction because they got to understand, yes, maybe they view Jordan Addison for sure on the team this next season. But with the off-the-field stuff, I still think his production dipping just had to do with the quarterback play this past season. But maybe they don't want to pay him that big-time money. Maybe they look at day 2. Now some day 2 wide receiver targets here. You got Casey Concepcion, like him. Honestly, like all these guys on this list, except for Chris Brazzell. Elijah Surratt, we'll touch on him here in a second, but Chris Bell out of Louisville, really like his game. He's an exciting prospect. You got Denzel Boston, a big wide receiver, but also the thing about Denzel Boston is very intriguing. He's a very good route runner. So when you have the combination of size and route running ability, definitely intrigues me. You got Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame, like his game. Jeremy Bernard out of Bama as well. And then you got a slot wide receiver in Antonio Williams. The Vikings have done a lot of work on Antonio Williams. Watch out for him. But my guy, and there's been no reporting on the Vikings having any interest in Elijah Surratt. If he is there at pick 49, and he probably will be, I want the Vikings to draft him. I think Elijah Surratt, people are just overthinking this. He was the number 1 pass-catching target for one of the best offenses in college football this past season. He was the number 1 guy over Mark Cooper. He was a guy running that true outside X. He can also hop in the slot. He reminds me of a Keenan Allen pro comp, but also his ceiling pro comp is Devontae Adams. Like, he is the ridiculous release package that Devontae had. A ridiculous back shoulder catcher as well. 50-50 balls go his way. He didn't have a lot of drops. I think it was 3 drops this past season. I think 2 of those also came in the college football playoff. But Surratt, like big games, like at Oregon, he had a monster performance. At Iowa, in a slugfest with the Hawkeyes, he had a monster performance. Like when it was big-time spots, 3rd and 8, big games, they didn't go to Omar Cooper as much as they went to this guy, Elijah Surratt. So watch out for him. I would absolutely love him for the Vikings at pick 49, and that would be my answer to this. Name a wide receiver. You want the Minnesota Vikings to draft. You're on the clock, and maybe a couple of those names are available. Who would you end up taking? For me personally, it would be Elijah Surratt. Love his game. I think no matter what team drafts him, he'll end up being successful at the next level. So you guys chime in down below. Now we'll talk more about the Minnesota Vikings here in a second. But first off, I want to tell you guys about today's sponsor, that is Factor Meals. I head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until September 27th, 2026. See their website for more details. Now, let's just say hunger strikes. It's late at night. You're getting off a long day of work and you're just flat out exhausted. And there may be something healthy in your fridge or pantry that you should be making, but you just don't have it in you. And that's where Factors came in, and it doesn't have the willpower problem like making a whole home-cooked meal when you get off of work, and it changed my life when I found Factor. And with Factor, I'm hitting my nutrition goals this season without the planning, grocery runs, or cooking. Now, Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support for strength and workout recovery. Check out Factor's Muscle Pro Collection, and they're fresh, never frozen. They have over 100 rotating weekly meals, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian, so there's always something new to look forward to. So head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off. We'll hook you guys up with 50% off and a free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until September 27th, 2026. See their website for more details. All right, number 2 on this list, we're going to go with Blake Brandel. Now, I'm not saying Blake Brandel's on the hot seat, like he's going to be potentially cut from the Minnesota Vikings. Like, he'll be on the roster next season. But right now, he is slated in to be the Vikings starting center for next season. Now, I think Brandel, like, you could obviously line him up all over. Like, he is probably the only player in the NFL that has played 75-plus snaps at every single offensive line position over the last couple of years. So his versatility is great. And I think ideally for the Vikings, and maybe they are thinking this, like, you do draft a center of the future, and then you put Brandel back into like a swing, guard, swing tackle, like literally just being the backup offensive lineman for the Vikings for whoever would maybe get hurt. Like Donovan Jackson was banged up last year. Brian O'Neill missed a game or two over the last 3 seasons pretty consistently. Christian Darrisaw, obviously, know what he's got going on. Still rehabbing that torn knee from 2 seasons ago. But if you were able to draft a center of future, put Brandel in that backup role, like that would allow the Vikings to have like 7 offensive linemen that you feel comfortable rolling out any given week. Now, who could the Vikings potentially draft? Well, luckily for them, this center market here in April is very good. Like Sam Heck is a great option. Jake Slaughter, Logan Jones I really like, Connor Lew. And then if you want to take a flyer on a guy, maybe in round 5 or round 6, Pat Coogan is another good option out of Indiana. Like, I am cool with the Vikings drafting either of these 5 centers. You just got to find your guy. Like, finding a center is very, very hard. And maybe all 5 of these guys work. Maybe all 5 of them don't work. But I still want the Vikings to take a flyer on one of these 5 names. Now, third player that could be on the hot seat here after the NFL draft, that being Eric Wilson. Now, I think Eric Wilson did a great job last year. We all agree with that. Like, he was one of the hidden gems on this Vikings defense. He had 6.5 sacks. He had one of the highest pressure rates out of a blitzing linebacker, not just this past season, but in NFL history, which is flat out ridiculous. When running backs are trying to pick this guy up in the hole, they just get their ass blown up. Like, it is incredible what he does to these guys. But I fully expect the Vikings to draft a linebacker at some point here in the NFL draft. Like, whether that's round 1, whether that's round 2, at some point the Minnesota Vikings will end up drafting a guy. Like, what if they reach on Jacob Rodriguez in round 1? Or what if they move up from pick 49 to get Rodriguez early round 2? Or maybe it's a C.J. Allen they could potentially draft. You also got guys like Kyle Lewis out there who I really like, Jake Golday, Anthony Hill. Like, this linebacker draft class might be too good for the Vikings to turn down. And, you like your starters that you have. Like, you obviously, Blake Cashman's a stud. Eric Wilson played some good football, but Cashman's on an expiring deal. Eric Wilson's 31 years old, and they don't really have any depth. Like, we could be looking at this room this time next year and being like, we need to draft 2 linebackers, or at least sign one in free agency, then draft a guy. So I'd rather have the Vikings see this problem a year early instead of waiting until the last second, which I still fully expect the Vikings to do just that. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Just give me those skulls down below in the comment section. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, let's go Vikes.